So I know that I'm probably the last person to see this movie, but I really enjoyed it and I want to review it for you. So my wife and I just went and saw this movie for our anniversary, and it was actually really good. I have a lot of good things to say about this movie. The cast is excellent. Bill Murray as Baloo, Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, Christopher Walken as King Louie, Idris Elba as Shere Khan, Scarlett Johansson as Kaa. I mean, even I couldn't screw this movie up. If you've seen the cartoon movie, then you basically know everything that's going to happen, but there's still some surprises in it for you. The one and only complaint, man, I miss the music from the cartoon. Like, they do their own versions of it, and in some cases it's like an updated version, but it's hard to beat I Want to Be Like You with King Louie and Baloo singing back and forth to each other and dancing. But yeah, this is an updated version of the story, so it's a little bit darker than the cartoon. There was actually a little kid in the theater with us that kept saying, like, "Mama, this is scary." I don't know. It's made for kids, I guess, but at the same time, it's trying to be a more realistic version of nature. Animals kill each other. Overall, though, really loved the movie. I loved the cast. Bill Murray is such a slacker as Baloo. He does a really good job. In today's society, he could get in trouble for child labor, the way that he treats Mowgli. You know, he kind of treats him more as a business partner. Instead of, like, in the cartoon, you kind of get the vibe that they're friends, and he's wanting to be more like a father figure to Mowgli. In this one, they just kind of work together, you know, and they don't really get to build that relationship the way that they do in the cartoon. I love Ben Kingsley as Bagheera. This is definitely one of the biggest improvements of the movie. Is he gets a little bit more to do. He's there for Mowgli. He has a lot more good advice for Mowgli. King Louie is creepy in this movie. He's a Gigantopithecus. He's not an orangutan like he was in the cartoon. And he is gigantic, just like the name implies. But the whole scene, he kind of comes across as like this mafia dude, like, you're going to need some protection, and I can provide that protection. But if you don't take my protection, then you're going to need somebody else to protect you, if you know what I'm saying. And it's Christopher Walken, too. And I haven't seen too many other reviews on this movie. When you're first introduced to him, the monkeys all kind of push Mowgli into this place. And one of the things that Mowgli picks up is a cowbell. And I could not stop laughing while I was sitting there in the theater. And my wife is like, "What?" It's like, "Gotta have more cowbell." But I kept saying that to her. She got really frustrated. But man, that could not be an accident. Somebody back me up with this. He picked up a cowbell, and Christopher Walken is playing King Louie. That is hilarious. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, look up SNL cowbell skit and laugh your butt off and thank me later. I also really liked the wolves in this movie. You know, they're given a lot more to do. In the cartoon, they just kind of raise him, and then they're like, yeah, Shere Khan wants him, and we don't want that kind of publicity, so get rid of Mowgli. Send him to the man village. In this movie, there's a lot more emotional attachment. You gotta realize, even though it's a wolf, this is Mowgli's mother, and she's given a lot more to do, a lot more to say, a much bigger part to play in this overall story. As she should. Let's talk about who I think is one of the best performers in this movie. Idris Elba as Shere Khan. Oh my goodness, what an amazing performance. You know, he had this swagger to him as he walked. All the animals around him just kind of, "I'm not in your way. I don't want trouble. I don't want to get eaten." He's got this commanding presence, and he just brings such gravitas to the role. He was creepy. He got all the lines just right. He also is given a lot more to do in this movie than just kind of showing up at the end, or he's about to attack Mowgli and then the elephants walk by. Let's talk about the elephants. They don't get to sing their elephant song. I was kind of disappointed by that. In this version of the story, the elephants are responsible for making the jungle the way that it is. So they're very revered and respected, almost worshipped. There's a lot of levels to the elephants in this movie. Probably ones that you won't get until you've seen it a few times. By the way, always see movies twice. Unless they're awful. Scarlett Johansson as Ka. Man, she was creepy. She's got this really sweet voice, but at the same time it's coming out of a giant python. This snake is huge in this movie. Something interesting happens during their conversation. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's definitely not something that was in the original cartoon. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's definitely something that you want to see for yourself. You don't want to hear somebody talk about it on the internet. But yeah, guys, overall this movie was really good. It hit a lot of good notes. I would say it's probably better story-wise than the original, but at the same time, I miss the old music. I know that they can't technically just play the original music from the other ones while we have this live action performance. That would be kind of awkward. I understand that, but I think that that's kind of what I wanted. The songs in this movie, they're okay. They're just not as good as the originals. But then again, like, who can compete with that? This is a movie that I've always loved as a kid. I had my parents and my family call me Mowgli. Thought my mom was Bagheera. I thought my dad was Baloo. It took me a while to realize that Bagheera wasn't a woman. I was a weird kid. But yeah, guys, overall, thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I think I'm going to give it a B+. It is a lot like the original, but it also still has some surprises in store for you when you go see it. Is it better than the original? I don't know. I think story-wise it's more well-rounded. There's things in this version that make a lot more sense than they did in the cartoon. It's not as fun. Like, it's kind of more serious, grim, and dark than the cartoon. It's just not as fun, but it's still good. Like, it was a facelift for this movie. Have you guys seen the movie? Did you like it? What do you give it? Did you like the new versions of the songs? Anyways, guys, I don't know what else to say about this movie. I really enjoyed it. I think you will too. Peace out, everybody.